Yeah. From the first word spoken to the last amen. Look, day one, I believe in the Father, maker of the heavens and the holler. Seen things unseen in the silence, whole world in his hands, that's balance. Light, land, oceans and order, skylines stretch past borders. Every breath, every law that's written came from the mind that isn't limited by minutes or distant. Feminine wisdom, perfect existence, one throne, no rival in the system. Alpha in the code, I listen. We believe, say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul like ink that bleed. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again. Only one sin, true God, true flesh, that's intent. Born from a woman, promise in the womb, royal in the manger, glory in the gloom. Walked dust, felt hunger in the heat, love wore sandals in the street. Spoke life, storm, her wind froze, touch of his hand, blind eyes rose. For I say, took the blame, that's in it. Cross on his back, that's penance. Laid in the grave, don't shut dark deep. Third day, sun up, death fell asleep. Woo. Lifted up, backseated with the Father. All things under him, why bother? Running from grace when the gate wide, he'll come blazing. Judge day, no size. We believe, say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul, I ain't that bleed. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again. I believe in the Spirit, breathe in the lungs. Fire in the room when the praise gets sung. Oh yeah. Prophets write songs, holy, holy sets us apart. One church, one hope, one birth. Forgiveness reigning on this earth. Grace gonna crack when he calls our names. New life, new body, no shame. We believe, say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in a crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul like ink that bleeds. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again.
Welcome to the Called to Defend live stream, where we're going to commit the second worst assassination of our friends in history. I'm Caleb Elliott, and this is Josh Davis. Josh, how are you?
You felt really clever with that one, didn't you?
I really did.
Oh my gosh. I am all right. I am mentally exhausted.
I am physically exhausted.
It is the last week of school, and I have so much to do. I have been staring at a laptop for every day in between everything nonstop and just staring. Oh, I just saw your private comment. Anyways, if you ever see me like just rolling my eyes when I see a comment, it's because Caleb texted me privately and I'm reading it. And that would be why. Which has happened before. But yes, welcome to our stream. Fun news for us. It felt like we were plateauing a little bit, but all 4 channels have been picking up lately.
Nice.
I was looking at that lately. Ecclesia is, still hasn't hit 20 yet, but Apologia is like in the 70s, getting close to the 80s.
Oh boy.
I know. Yeah. Let me see. I think it's 71, 74, somewhere in that range. Graphai is in the 40s working its way towards 50s, which is, you know, that one got stuck at 20 for like a month, and then it just jumped to 20 in a week, or something like that. And then the regular channel, we're at 281 right now, so we're closing in on the 3. We're getting ready for the next 100, which is really fun.
Nice.
And now that my day job is going to be a little less intensive for the summer, I'll have more time to get other crap done for this, and maybe get ahead for when school hits again, instead of trying to do it all out at the same time. Anyways, so now that we've kind of stalled, Caleb, you had something that pretty much all of us, you've had something prepared for. I know 2 arguments against the I'm going to call them the J-Hos, and then Jehovah Witness at the same time. Jehovah Witnesses.
Ah, yes, the J-Hos.
I don't know where that one came from. Anyways, I know 2 arguments for him, but you've been going through a lot of stuff for this, mostly looking at articles. And so I'm going to guess you have articles today.
Oh, of course, man. That's my bread and butter.
And so, yeah, I guess we'll let you take away with whatever it is that you have come to share today regarding. I took your 2 things that you texted me, and I tried to combine them into one title.
Okay.
Because you said you wanted to talk about translation and court cases. So, New World Translation on Trial, Examining the Watchtower's Bible.
Yes. So, oh no.
By the way, Caleb screwed up his back.
Yeah, I have a pinched nerve in my lower back. Hence the name Jellyfish Witness, because jellyfish are invertebrates, much like myself at this point.
This is why our podcast, which came out in one platform on Monday, but then it wouldn't transfer to YouTube. So it came out on YouTube today, this morning. So if you heard it this morning or yesterday, Caleb was on the floor when we were recording because he could not get up.
Yeah. And if I could right now, I would continue to be on the floor. But this is the kind of dedication and professionalism and sheer and utter chutzpah that I have, and that I'm going to stick it out for probably an hour before my spine actually ejects from my body.
Which works for me because I got more schoolwork to do before the end of the night anyways.
Yeah. So without further delay, actually, real quick, with one more delay, go join our Discord.
Oh, yeah. Go do that. Down below in the description.
Growing, it's active. We're popping daily. We're having good conversations. You do not have to be a Christian to join. We have several non-Christians. We would appreciate y'all coming on in.
Indeed. Come on in. Hang out with us. I love seeing the interaction so far. I'd love to see some more. Also, would love to kind of hear more from you guys. It's an easier way to get a hold of us for what you want us to kind of cover more in the future. All right, hold on. Is this an article, or did you actually just make a presentation for this?
This is an article.
It looks like a slideshow opening.
It does, but I'm already working on a slideshow for a different cult, so I don't have time to make one for this. This is, as you so eloquently put it, the J-Ho. Their website.
I usually the J-Dubs if I want to shorthand it, but I said I don't know why I came out with that one instead.
The J-Hos.
It's a new one for me.
It's something. Anyways, I didn't like that moment. Saying the same thing at the same time as you.
You can get over it.
So, the J-Dubs or J-Hos. I don't know. I feel like I should start saying that. I can make a shirt with that.
Yeah, Momo for Islam. You got the J-Hos for J-Dubs.
Oh, I can do something with that. Oh, I can do something with that. Hang on.
Is it going to be on bad ideas, or is it going to be one that I can actually wear?
Probably the former.
Okay. Again, taking my random comments and making it into an unwearable shirt.
Absolutely. That's what I do. All right.
Anyways.
More to the point. So the New World Translation is the like approved translation for the Jehovah's Witness, right? A little bit of background here. And so we've gone through pretty much every stream this month, things that we find in the New World Translation that are either problematic for the Jehovah's Witness according to their own theology, or just straight up translated incorrectly. And we're going to dive a little bit more into that tonight. I thought Josh was going to be a nerd and wear glasses.
I probably am gonna wear my blue light
glasses.
glasses just because I've been staring at the screen for hours, typing lesson plans and stuff.
What a nerd wearing glasses.
And it's just blue light glasses, more just to protect my eyes. Oh, I don't like my lights reflecting off that. Never mind. I'm gonna just suffer my eyes.
So you also kind of look like SpongeBob when he puts his glasses on to go jellyfishing.
Okay, you know what? You picked these out, and you said they looked fine.
I picked them out?
Yes, you picked these out.
I do not recall that.
We were at Best Buy getting your first microphone.
Sure. I remember getting the microphone. I don't remember you buying SpongeBob glasses. Any hoozle. No, I was trying to think of another roast, but I didn't have anything.
No, you're done.
So they put out an article regarding the accuracy of their approved translation. Now they have a couple approved translations, and we'll kind of get into a couple of them here. Excuse me, but the New World Translation is their go-to, right? That's the one they're always going to point you towards as being accurate and precise. You're welcome for that yawn. And for example, in my discussion with the Jehovah's Witness on this channel, I brought up to them Acts 5 verse 3, and they said that the New World Translation phrases it differently. The only problem is I actually read to them from the New World Translation. Go check that out after the stream, because it's a great way to just quickly debunk Jehovah's Witness. Or at least I should say it's a bigger problem for Jehovah's Witness than they let on. But anyway, so they will very much turn to the New World Translation and say this is the right way to translate. Okay, but is it accurate? Right, that's the question of the article. So starting off here, we have the first part of the New World Translation was released in 1950. Since then, some people have commented on or questioned the accuracy of the New World Translation because in places it differs from other translations of the Bible. The reasons for these differences usually fall into one of the following categories, right? So what stood out to me is it was in 1950. That's pretty late, right? Jehovah's Witness claimed that Christ returns in 1874. We went over that last stream. And this time Josh gave me the odd.
Yep.
We're just passing it back and forth.
Yep.
Pardon me. So I find it interesting, like 80 years. Well, CTR, Charles Taze Russell, really begins teaching like in the 1880s, right? So 70 years then after he first begins teaching, the Jehovah's Witness put out a translation, right, that they feel is more accurate, quote unquote. We'll get into why they actually disagree with that, but I digress. So I find it weird that it took them 70 years, right? Because the whole thing is they were the Bible student movement. Well, the Bible student you think would be fairly concerned with accurate Bible translations.
Yeah.
And yet they were just fine to 70 years, no accurate Bible translation. So I found that a little weird. But they're saying these are the objections that people will make. So they'll say it's unreliable. And their response is the New World Translation is based on up-to-date scholarly research, ? And the most reliable ancient manuscripts. In contrast, the KJV of 1611, Only Way to Heaven, was based on manuscripts that were often less accurate and not as old as those used in producing the New World Translation. And so they're saying, well, by the standards of the KJV, you have no reason to reject the NWT, New World Translation. The NWT uses more modern manuscripts, right? Or perhaps not more modern, but more reliable.
Okay.
Is their argument than the KJV. Okay, sure, but the KJV is not the only Bible translation out there. There are lots more that use the same manuscripts that you guys are using and are coming to very different conclusions about the text. We'll get to that when I finally get to touch on my pride and joy, which is John 1. Faithfulness. The New World Translation strives to convey faithfully the original message that was inspired by God. Many translations of the Bible sacrifice faithfulness to God's message in favor of following human traditions, such as replacing God's personal name, Jehovah, with titles such as Lord or God. Again, it just comes through as, yeah.
I know.
I might have to scrap that one.
Yeah. Just gotta do it yourself. Okay.
Okay. That was a line that kind of made me crack a smile. Like, really, guys? Replacing God's personal name, Jehovah, with titles such as Lord or God. Okay. If that's what you want to say, makes a faithful translation, is that it keeps the name Jehovah and all of that. All right, I'll hold you to that standard.
Actually, I think I haven't watched it yet, but I saw there was a video by this one guy. I think he's an apologist that does polemics. And I saw that he had a video that came out about 3 days ago where he actually touches on that he has found something where they don't even affirm that's not his name officially. I gotta find that.
You mean they don't affirm it is his name officially?
Sorry, yeah, whatever I meant to say.
Yeah, and you said that it's not his name officially, and I was like, wait, but they think it is.
No. Okay, I was right the first time. They actually, there's documentation of them actually saying it's not his actual name. I gotta find it though.
Okay, we're gonna roll with. I know what you meant, so we're gonna roll with that because the first statement I believe was not affirming that it's not his name, and so I think you meant that they are not affirming that it is his name, or they are affirming that it is not his name. Correct. Okay, cool. We're gonna roll with that then. So yeah, but again, barring that, which if that's the case, then that's a huge problem for them. But barring that, if you're going to say that the faithfulness of a tradition is dependent on using the name Jehovah, all right, I'm going to hold you to that. And then they have literalness. Unlike paraphrased translations, much like I'm reading this article apparently, the New World Translation renders words literally, as long as doing so does not result in awkward wording or hide the thought of the original writings. So if I may actually translate what they're saying. Unlike paraphrased translations, the New World Translation renders words literally, as long as doing so does not result in awkward wording or not mesh with Jehovah's Witness theology. Again, we'll touch on that later when we get to the horrific translation of John 1. Continuing on, translations that paraphrase the Bible's original text may insert human opinions or omit important details. A bit of the pot calling the kettle black, if I may. So, but there are obviously some differences, right? And so we're going to touch on those differences between the NWT and other translations. They cite missing books. In their Bibles, the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox Church, get wrecked Ethiopian Church, include books known by some as the Apocrypha. However, those books were not accepted into the Jewish canon, and it is noteworthy that the Bible says that the Jews were the ones who were entrusted with the sacred pronouncements of God. And they cite Romans chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Thus, the NWT and many other modern Bible translations rightly exclude the books of the Apocrypha. Now, we're not going to really touch on this just because I don't really want to go down that road and open up that can of worms.
So that has nothing to do with translation.
Right. It has absolutely nothing to do with translation. Thank you for stealing my thunder.
Oh.
You'll notice that Josh and I have a lot of similar thoughts, and it's honestly because we do so much ministry together.
There's also the fact that
2 hours later,
it's how you work, and then I just kind of fire off with the thought of it right away.
Yeah, well, because I like to build. I like to
2
enunciate. I like
hours
to.
later,
I will frick your day.
2 hours later,
Bad spine and all. I will come over there. I know where you live.
Gay!
Come on, man. I'm actually trying to get along with it now. Missing verses. Some translations add verses and phrases that are not in the oldest available Bible manuscripts, but the NWT excludes such material. Many modern translations either omit these later editions or acknowledge that those editions lack support from the most authoritative sources. Again, not a translation issue, right? That's an issue of perhaps, if you want to say corruption, you could. And I still don't think it is, but like, I mean, let's take 1 John 5:7, for example, which is one that people like to cite as an addition. Sure, that's a later addition. Does that have anything to do with translation? Now, we're kind of getting to the point here. Different wording. Occasionally, word-for-word translations are unclear or misleading. For example, Jesus' statement at Matthew 5:3, that should be in Matthew 5:3, is often translated, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." Excuse me, English Standard Version, King James Version, New International Version. Many find the literal rendering, "poor in spirit," to be obscure, while some think that Jesus was highlighting the value of humility or poverty. However, Jesus' point is that true happiness comes from recognizing the need for God's guidance. The NWT accurately conveys this meaning with the words, "those conscious of their spiritual need." Josh, you have a scowl on your face.
Just thinking. Because when I was prepping for Mountain stuff, I was reading several things on the Sermon on the Mount. So I was just kind of thinking, trying to remember some things from arguments about translation or like the complexity of it.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're not really touching on any like major differences here, though, right? Like they are not at all going up against things like John 1 or like Colossians 1 is another one. Colossians 1:16, I think, is a big one where the NWT and most modern Bibles, as they say, differ, right? Or just most English Bibles generally differ. And then they go into a bunch of different non-Jehovah's Witness scholars who say that, yep, this is a good translation. Like they give a butt ton. We're not going to read through all those. If you want to, you can go to the article and read through them. Basically, it's people saying, yep, this is a good translation. Now, at no point in the article, that's the whole article, by the way. That's the end of the article right there. At no point do they provide why you should read the New World Translation over the other ones, right? They list King James Version. Okay, sure. But we're not just looking for you to prove that it's better than the King James Version. We're looking for you to prove that A, it's accurate, which I will grant you, quoting scholars, sure, okay. But scholars can be wrong. Right? And I can probably go and find just as many, if not more, scholars. Famously, Bill Mounts, like the guy for learning Greek, hardcore disagrees with many passages and how you translate them. So we can both quote scholars. What you need to prove is that your methodology for translation is accurate and is better than the passage or than the Bibles that you were saying are translating incorrectly.
Did they ever say what their methodology really is?
No.
It might
It
be in
was
their
a
actual.
very closed door process, and when we get to talking about the court cases, we're gonna look at that.
Okay. Maybe it's in their Bible somewhere, but
yeah. Speaking somewhat of court cases, who even translated the New World Translation? Right. So a lot of people mistakenly think it's Charles Taze Russell, but this is released in 1950. CTR is long dead by this point. Like, he dies before his prediction of 1914 even comes around. I think it was 1906. CTR dies. So he is not the author of the New World Translation. It is instead done by like a board of directors, president and chief among whom is this guy, Frederick William Franz. I'll probably say it both ways throughout the recording.
see, you're showing. It looks like you're trying to show a name, but it's not.
What?
I mean, there's one in the paragraph right there.
Yeah.
It looked like your mouse was trying to show something. It's like, it's not up there, dude. I don't know what you're doing.
This guy.
Okay.
That guy. I pulled up a photo of him earlier. Not the most handsome chap out there. Not the worst guy, but you know. Just say I don't think he would have made movie star.
See, I thought you were about to pull him up or something.
I can.
No, it's all right. It's too late. It's too late.
Okay, well, then I'm glad I could lean forward to type and have a back spasm, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, holy crap. All right. But this is actually his funeral speech, his eulogy.
Oh, okay.
This might have been the obituary in the Watchtower announcing. So this is the issue, I believe, after his passing, right? But I can just tell you a whole bunch of things about him, but why not read from the JWs themselves what the guy who translated their Bible was like? And so they begin with, his eulogy begins with some scripture. To the angel of the congregation in Smyrna, the Apostle John was told to write, "Prove yourself faithful even to death, and I will give you the crown of life." Excuse me. Therefore, both sad and joyful is the announcement here made that Frederick William Franz, president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania and the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, as well as a number of other theocratic bodies, finished his earthly course on the morning of December 22nd, 1992. It is a sad announcement that it tells of the passing of the earthly scene of a very much beloved and outstandingly faithful servant of Jehovah. Yet it is also a joyful announcement because our dear brother Franz now applied the words of Revelation 14:13. Happy are the dead who die in union with the Lord from this time onward. Yes, says the Spirit. Interesting. Let them rest from their labors, for the things they did go right with them. Brother Franz, was modest and humble, hardworking, and very productive minister, whom Jehovah God used mightily as a member of the faithful and discreet slave to assist in providing spiritual food for the domestics and their companions. They cite Matthew chapter 24. And then they kind of go through his life. And what I find here is they mention the oh my goodness, they mention the several different kingdom halls, like the funeral service, and then they mention the people who were viewing digitally. And then they kind of talk a little bit here about his time in the Watchtower. Strangely enough, they leave out the fact that he was president and oversaw the translation of the New World Translation. Right? Because you have, in 1945, he became vice president of the Watchtower Society and other associated bodies. Upon the death of then president Nathan Knorr, in 1977, he became the president of the Watchtower Society. So my mistake, he was vice president during that time. He served in that capacity until his death. In his lifetime, Brother Franz saw the number of witnesses of Jehovah increase from a few thousand to some 4.5 million. He enjoyed many privileges of service, including speaking at international conventions and visiting branches and missionary homes in many parts of the world. His life story appeared in the May 1st, 1987 issue of The Watchtower. Now, again, there's something kind of important missing here. Namely, where's the New World Translation? This is the guy for it. Why aren't they bringing that up? Well, the reason for that, well, hang on. Let's first, we've got a little bit of his qualifications, right? So this is referring to his election to the presidency. So on June 22nd, 1977, 2 weeks after Brother Knorr's death, 83-year-old, my goodness, 83-year-old Frederick W. Franz was elected president of the Watchtower Society. Regarding Brother Franz, the Watchtower of August 1st, 1977, stated his outstanding reputation as an eminent Bible scholar. Okay, we're going to hold you to that. And his tireless work in behalf of kingdom interests has won him the confidence and loyal support of Jehovah's Witnesses everywhere. So, doing some quick math, my dude was old. He was real old. He was 98 when he died. He didn't reach the presidency until 83, which is 5 years younger than the last 2 U.S. presidents. But that's neither here nor there. My dude was an old boy. But that doesn't make really anything, just kind of notable of wow, 83 and you finally reached the highest office that you were aiming for. That actually is older than Joe Biden, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
When he took office, which, didn't know that was possible, but here we are. And then he stays on until 98 when he dies. He's still president at 98. That is honestly impressive.
Yeah.
What's not impressive, though, is this part. An eminent Bible scholar. Now, I don't doubt that Franz knew his stuff, right? 98 years. You probably don't make it to the presidency of the JWs without at least knowing some things. It's their highest office. So I do not doubt that he had quite a bit of Bible experience under his belt. The problem is he's overseeing their translation process, and he has no translation experience under his belt. So we're going to pop over real quick to look at some Jehovah's Witness court cases, and we're going to kind of set things up just regarding who's who and who does what. So we have here a couple of court cases as reviewed. And these are the actual transcripts, and we're going to review them. and as recorded, that's what I meant, by official district courts. Like these are actual courts, right? This is a Canadian court, and I believe we have an American court after that. Oh no, Scottish court. Excuse me. So it's American and Scottish. The first one is the main man himself, Charles Taze Russell, who actually, in this case, is the plaintiff. He sues J.J. Ross, who I believe is a minister, for defamatory libel in March of 1913. And the reason he does that is because Ross had written in his booklet called Some Facts and Some More Facts, which is what a title. Some Facts and Some More Facts about the self-styled pastor C.T. Russell, in which he wrote that Russell does not know the dead languages. Right? So Russell is suing him for Ross saying that he has not been, as the other JW article that we looked at a couple streams ago, I think, said that CTR was studying his Hebrew and Greek manuscripts. And J.J. Ross says, no, this guy does not know these at all. So Russell takes him to court. And this is the interaction between the attorney for J.J. Ross and Charles Taze Russell, who is on the stand. Josh, would you like the attorney or Russell?
I'll do the attorney.
Okay. So your court transcript extract.
Do you know the Greek alphabet?
It's Attorney Staunton, and Russell's response is, oh, yes.
Can you tell me the correct letters if you see them?
Some of them. I might make a mistake in some of them.
Would you tell me the names of those on the top of page 447 if I have here? So I have a really tiny screen right now.
All right, I can zoom in a little bit. Better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
You can't tell what those letters are. Look at them and see if you know.
My way. And it says, Attorney Staunton interrupts here with,
are you familiar with the Greek language?
No. So, to recall, the claim that Ross makes is that Russell doesn't know Greek. Russell takes him to court, suing him for libel. And for those who don't know, libel is when you print something false about somebody, either for malicious or political intent. Right? So Russell is essentially saying this guy maliciously is attacking me. When we say malicious, we mean with ill intent. He is attempting to defame me. Yes, slander. Slander is speech, libel is print. That's actually the difference. Fun fact. For our audience who may not be up to date on their legal jargon. But so that's what he's taken into court over. And I don't know how he didn't think, oh, you know what? They're probably going to check to see if I actually know the language. Because the attorney just outright says it, right? Do you know the Greek alphabet? Oh, yes. Are you familiar with the Greek language? No. Okay, so guys, what we're looking at here is a little fancy word that starts with a P, ends with an urgery. Russell just lied on the stand under oath. That's perjury.
Here's one way he can try to get around it.
I should say it's a civil case, so he might not have fully perjured himself. It depends on how Canadian court systems work.
I'm gonna say he could argue back well, technically he asked about the Greek alphabet, and you can know the alphabet but not know the language, not know what words are. It's a very bad argument, but it's a very technical one that he could try to use to get around it.
Yeah, exactly. If I am CTR's lawyer, that's exactly what I'm arguing. The problem is, as soon as he admits that, the case is thrown out, though.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like you're suing him for libel for saying that you don't know the languages. And then you are asked directly, do you know the language? And you're like, nah. And then there is this part. I couldn't find any evidence to back this up. Like there was contradicting accounts of what exactly this is, and I couldn't find any evidence for any particular account.
Mm-hmm.
Something definitely happened here, and I think we mentioned this previously. Yeah. I'll just read it quickly. When Charles Taze Russell was 61, his wife, Maria Ackley, whom he married in 1879, filed for legal separation in 1903 and then for a divorce. The courts granted her a divorce, and he was charged with fraud and perjury. Oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, that was. All right, cool. Maria publicly accused him of conceit, egotism, and domination, and more seriously, of taking indiscretions both with their adopted daughter and their maid. The court record included a quote from his adopted daughter, who alleged that he had said to her, "I am like a jellyfish." My name make a little more sense now?
A little bit, yep.
I float here and there. I touch this one and that one. And if she responds, I take her to me. And if not, I float on to others. Now, there needs to be a little bit of context here. Maria does, at some point in the future, I don't remember the exact date, retract her accusation. So whether or not anything actually happened, we just don't know. There's conflicting accounts, there's retractions, there's obviously the official statement here from the adopted daughter. Obviously, though, the court finds sufficient grounds to grant the divorce, right? This is in I don't think it was 1903, I think it was 0405. Excuse me. When the divorce proceedings actually happen. This is not like 2026 in California, y'all. There's no fault divorce. If you're filing for divorce in the 1900s, you have to have proof to back that up, right? You have to have an actual legitimate reason. Perhaps there was. I'm sorry?
Back in the good old days.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm with you on the no fault divorce because it ruins lives, it ruins families, and it's a huge problem in our culture. But I'm not sure I would refer to the 1900s as the good old days.
Referring to that one thing, but you know, there's some people who enjoyed that time.
Sure. What is it? I want the society of 1220 and the dentistry of 2012. It's the famous quote. I want the society of 1220 and the dentistry of 2012. Anyways, so maybe something happened here, maybe not. We really don't know. Anyways, more to the point of why we're here. So CTR did not know the languages at all, but CTR didn't offer the translation, right? So at best, then you have the article being wrong about CTR knowing Hebrew and Greek. Okay, fine, whatever. That's not a huge deal. An article was wrong. Big whoop. Worst case scenario, he really was studying those and just getting a bunch of things wrong, in which case we have to sort of re-examine the theology he held. But it doesn't really matter, right? Like, let's assume best case scenario and the article is just wrong. Okay, whatever. Who cares? Articles are wrong all the time. We're going to get to the more substantial problem here, which is Freddie. Now, Freddie here, right? He lives from 1893 to 1992. So, wow, he may even have been 99. And he's regarded as the best scholar of all the Jehovah's Witness leaders. Now, why it says that is because the Jehovah's Witness are challenged on their ability to translate the Bible and the New World Translation, and they send Franz as their representative, right? So if you're going to send somebody to defend your methodology of interpretation, right, the very grounding and foundation of the Bible for you and how you translate it and how you understand it, you're going to send your best guy, right? Like, you're not going to send the guy that has no idea what he's talking about. At least theoretically, you're not. Because, spoiler alert, they sent a guy who has no idea what he's talking about.
Hey, don't ruin the surprise.
Okay, fine. Do you want to be the attorney or Franz this time?
I want to be the attorney again.
Okay. So this is from the Scottish court in November of 1954. Case is Walsh versus Latham. This is the court transcript extract. Attorney.
Have you made yourself familiar with Hebrew?
Franz. Yes.
So you have a substantial linguistic apparatus at your command.
Yes, for my use in biblical work.
I think you are able to read the Bible in Hebrew, Greek, Latin, Spanish, Portuguese, German, and French.
Yes.
So you yourself read and speak Hebrew, do you?
I do not speak Hebrew.
You do not?
No.
Can you yourself translate that into Hebrew?
Which?
The 4th verse of the 2nd chapter of Genesis.
You mean here?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't attempt to do that. The passage he was being asked to, this is the bracketed text, the passage he was being asked to translate was a simple exercise with which an average first or second year Hebrew student in seminary would have no difficulty with. Josh, you have somewhat of a fetish for the Genesis narrative. Would you say that's an accurate statement? Would you say that Genesis 2:4 is a difficult passage to translate?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's not difficult in that it's not hard to put the words together. It's just some words are strange to us, but it's not hard to piece together how to put it together in our language.
Okay. Would you say that a first year Hebrew student?
I think they should be able to, yeah. Like the only word I'm thinking like that might be kind of weird is toledot, because it's a word that is used for genealogies, which is here tied to earth and heaven, but is also used for like accounts and history. But in general, so it's really just a matter of applying it the right way in our language. But that's probably the hardest part about it. It's just one word.
Okay. So yeah, it's an easier passage then.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that ridiculous.
Gotcha. Okay. And then that part is not, frankly, like that important. I mean, it just shows that he lies a little bit more. We can read it. Actually, why not? Right. So, Josh, we have another line for the attorney here.
I think you yourself left Cincinnati University without taking a degree, as Mr. Leslie elicited, but I do not think you told us of one other matter. Is it the case that you sat for and were offered a Rhodes Scholarship?
Yes, I was offered a Cecil Rhodes Scholarship. I took an examination for that in the University of Ohio, the State University at Columbus, Ohio.
What year was that when you were nominated for a Rhodes Scholarship?
That was in 1914, but in view of my decision as the Ministry of One Jehovah's Witnesses, I turned that down. And there's a note here from the court. Secretary of the Rhodes Scholarship, William J. Barber, Secretary of the Rhodes Scholarship Trust, said, however, I have checked our records and do not find that Frederick Franz was elected to a Rhodes Scholarship. So, dude just straight up lied about that. So this is who they send to defend their translation. They send a guy who has... I'm sorry?
If you don't mind, I was going to quickly just show the Hebrew, just to show how easy it is.
Go for it, my dude.
All right, so verse 4 is right here. Don't mind the blue highlight. That's from when I was doing a different word study. I just didn't get rid of it apparently. So the nice thing about this is that a large number of these words, so like for instance, hashamayim, weha eretz, or aretz, sorry, because it's an a right now. You get bayom, you get like all these different words right here, just a collection of these, minus like this one right here, all up here, way up here. So if you can do this, which I would argue is probably easier, is this one. Actually, this one's probably the tricky part, is this word, because the definite article is missing. But in general, that if you know Genesis 1:1 in Hebrew, then you have absolutely no problem doing Genesis 2:4 in Hebrew, minus like how do I want to translate that word right here? Because again, toledot can infrequently use use of generations throughout Genesis as well. So like you have in Genesis 5, the book of the generations of Adam, the generations of Noah, generations of sons of Noah. And then in several other places. So, and you have genealogies, you got names of birth. So it's just a weird word. And so we're trying to make it into a way that English readers will understand. You're just kind of like, what do I do? What do I want to do with that? But everything else, I mean, ele, toledot, hashamayim, we'ha'aretz, behib, behib ba ream, beyom, asot, Yahweh, Elohim, Eretz, with shamayim. Those are all words you see all in the previous chapter. And really, I think shamayim is you learn pretty early on. Obviously, you learn Elohim very on. Yahweh, it's just pretty much known. Bayom, if you know Genesis 1 again, that's used like 1,000 times. This one might be just kind of weird because it's just long. So if you don't know like how forms work, but so I guess in that case, 2 words maybe the most difficult in that case. Other than that, it's not that crazy. Because again, if you Genesis 1:1 is probably has one word that's difficult and what you want to do with it, and it's just because of, okay, is this going to be in the or when? Because there's no definite article. So the question is, does this verse here make it an independent or a dependent clause? But everything else here, it means bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. It's everything you see below. So it's not that ridiculous.
All right.
And the books
So,
I go through,
yeah.
the stuff they teach you first is those words.
Cool. So yeah, no, there's really nothing to indicate any sort of difficulty that should have been had there, if in fact somebody is an accurate translator of the Bible.
Especially if you're going to like be the top guy.
Right.
Like, I would not send me in as the top guy, but I at least could do more than what's his face, who's quote unquote the top guy.
Franz. So what do we have here? We have apparently their top guy not actually knowing how to translate anything in Hebrew. We have their founder saying that, yes, he knows the Greek alphabet, but he cannot tell you the correct letters.
Even then, he actually, I can push back on Charles again. And think about it. He said that he knows some after he said he knows it, which is not the same thing.
No. Hence the perjury charge.
Yep. And then is you know the language. Well, no. Okay. All right. So you don't know really anything, probably. You might know Alpha and Omega.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. But yeah, no, there's nothing to indicate any sort of knowledge here of the Greek, right? Because Josh, you're a Hebrew guy. I am our Greek guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love Greek. It makes so much sense. More people should learn it. Honestly, it should be the common tongue up to today.
Koine Greek?
Yes.
You're talking about bringing a dead language back.
Bring it back. Let's do this thing. But
nah,
there
we
is
should start speaking Yiddish.
I'm good, dog. Really, I'm all right. But this hurts my soul. Because, like, do you know the Greek alphabet? Some of them I might make a mistake on some of them. It's not a very difficult alphabet. It's really not. Like, some of the symbols might look a little similar, but even then, the Greeks were very good at distinguishing their letters.
Yeah, you could get away with that if you're doing Hebrew with hey and ket, like examples.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
there's-
vaguely remember my Hebrew alphabet. Vaguely.
There's
I
like
only did one semester of it and hated it. So
there's a couple sets that look similar to each other, and as English speakers, a couple that sound similar. But if you're a native Hebrew speaker, obviously they don't sound the same and they do look different.
or
but-
like sin and shin, for example, might
Yeah.
be a little tricky.
Seen and sheen would be where you put the dot. That's not a dogish. Where you put the dot. I'm just blanking on the word right now. Just keep going. My brain's fried.
So, what's the Jehovah's Witness response to this? Well, actually, hang on. Just to show, this is not just some random site making it up. We have multiple attestations. This is from November 24th, 1954. This is what we just read. Right? So we have the same interaction here. And they even double down. They say, we asked a Hebrew teacher at Biola College and Talbot Theological Seminary if the fourth verse of the second chapter of Genesis, what?
I was just like that's just like absolutely, yeah. If you're going to them, you're screwed. that's a reputable school.
Yeah, exactly. Was a particularly difficult verse to translate. After all, the pursuer's question would have hardly been fair if it were the hardest verse in the Old Testament to translate. The professor said that he would never pass a first-year Hebrew student who could not translate that verse. So, not looking good for Franz, for Freddie Boy. Well, what's the Jehovah's Witness response, right? We went through the case literally as to why it probably shouldn't be trusted. Is there a case in the opposite, right? Do they have an actual defense here? They offer nothing for Franz in his court case, literally nothing. I had to scour to find anything on their website regarding Franz, and it was literally just the places that he had gone. And he went to a lot of places too. The dude traveled a lot. But it was the places that he had gone, the churches that he had planted, and then the eulogy I read you, and that was it. That was it. They have scattered references to him here and there. They offer no defense for his disastrous court appearance.
Beautiful.
But they do have something for the Greek perjury charge. So they also have something about wheat. I have no idea what that's about. I looked into it. It seemed like there was no real there. It was just kind of weird. But they do have something regarding the perjury charge. So the Jehovah's Witness defense here on their official website is the perjury charge was not made in court, but in a tract written later by an irresponsible slanderer against whom Brother Russell had brought a libel case. The official record of the case in question, the case we just read, says you don't profess then to be schooled in the Latin language. No, sir. Or in Greek, no, sir. After he was asked if he knew individual Greek letters, and it was over this that the question of his knowledge of Greek arose. This false perjury claim has been repeated by many who never went to this Canadian city to check his old court record to see if they are spreading truth or a lie. Not only has the question which they quote been reworded, has it now? See, because when we looked at it, that looked pretty dadgum similar. Right? So this is what they're talking about. Do you know the Greek alphabet? Oh, yes. Can you tell me Can you tell me the correct letters if you see them? Some of them I might make a mistake on some of them. Would you tell me the names of those on top of page 447 I have got here? Well, I don't know. You can't tell me what those letters are. Look at them and see if you know. And then he says, my way. Are you familiar with the Greek language? No. They said the question was reworded.
His way.
They say the question has been reworded. It really hasn't. Right? Like they quote it differently, but we have the official transcript here. This is just lifted straight from it. And you know what? It's pissing me off. I'm gonna do it. Hang on. Just because for his statement, I will so hard. I'm honestly tempted just to take longer. I'm tempted to just take longer now. So here we have the Greek alphabet.
Okay.
There are very few letters that you could mistake for one another. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa. Ooh, they spelled kappa with one P. Ooh. Lambda, mu, nu, chi. They spelled that as. Oh no, excuse me. Psi. K is down there. Omicron, P, Rho. Yeah, it's P, by the way, people. It's not pi. Rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, c, omega. Like C and phi are like the only two that you could mistake for one another. Maybe sigma and omicron if I'm being generous. Maybe. But like there really aren't any others. I guess maybe Psi and Zeta. Maybe.
I was gonna say, I gotta zoom in. Maybe I already said this. Theta and Omicron. If you forget about which one has the line in between, but
sure, but that would be assuming that he is looking at translations which have capital letters.
Gotcha.
Right?
Good point.
Because theta is the height of the capital letter. The lowercase theta is actually the height of the capital letters, whereas Omicron is just a small lowercase letter.
Gotcha.
So you'd have to assume. Yeah. You'd have to assume that the manuscripts he's looking at have capital letters, which not all of them do.
When does the capital start coming more into play?
So the capital starts coming more into play definitely before Christ. The Septuagint has some, and then it kind of slowly bleeds into other works. So like by the 1st century, most works have capital letters, but not all. But like most of them do, right? Like anything you're going to be reading 1st century, more than likely, if the original doesn't have capitals, the copies do. But also we have like such little original documentation left that it's kind of tough to know, right? Of like what's just a later scribal addition of capital letters and what actually had capital letters in the original printing.
And it's
right?
like
it's tough to know that.
And so like based on your comment, what would be many of the early copies of the New Testament, would they have them or would they probably not have them?
They probably would, just because our earliest copies generally come from like the late 2nd century.
Okay.
That's just how long it
practice
takes.
At that point, probably more.
Right, yeah, and that's how far back we can go. That's what I'm looking for. So how far back we can go to actually have manuscripts survive, right? Because it's papyrus. It's not made to last for thousands of years.
Yeah, it withers away.
Yeah. So still though, not even a first year. Like a first semester Greek student could easily rip off the Greek alphabet for you. To say that he has any familiarity with the alphabet or the language or anything, that's the real libel here. That's the real slander here. Like, dude has no knowledge if he can't identify Greek letters. They're not even that complicated of letters. Right? Like if you're talking Hebrew where you've got the dagesh and you've got the different vowel markings and you got like, okay, I can a little bit understand that. The Greek alphabet is literally just these symbols.
especially Koine.
Yes, especially, well, actually, Koine, I will admit, is harder than modern Greek, because modern Greek removes accent symbols and breath marks. Right. So you lose smooth and rough breathing, and the different pitches which can indicate meaning. Right. So like the word tease, for example. Now, if it's tease versus tease, and there's a slight, and it's going to sound different, obviously, to a native Greek speaker, especially Koine Greek. We've just lost that entirely. But like there's a noticeable little drop in one of its TEs, right? Kind of that it goes flat down. And that actually indicates gosh, is it who or someone? I'm blanking right now. I think it's who. The word who versus yeah, that's what it is. So tease with the grave accent mark is the word who. Tease without the accent mark is the word someone. Right. So like that, okay, right. I can understand if you're going quick, you make a mistake, whatever. To say that you don't even know the letters and you can't identify them, that's bad, man. Like you have no familiarity. You have none. Right. This is the very first thing you learn in any language, the alphabet. You can't identify that. If you acknowledge I'm going to make some mistakes with it in a very, very simple alphabet like this, I'm sorry, you have no language, or you have no knowledge of the language whatsoever. Anyway, sorry, that really bothered me. Learn your Greek; it's important. But yeah, that was their defense, by the way. It just they reword the question, and then they go on to just talk about other stuff now.
So really, this kind of like just points to the fact that within the court case, you had the founder and then the top guy, both who don't know anything. And the top guy was, you said he was involved in the translation or oversaw it, correct?
Correct.
So the guy who's overseeing
they sent him to defend the translation.
Yes, that kind of just doesn't really give you much confidence in it.
None at all. And if you want less confidence, we're going to look at it now. So,
do you want my copy or do you want your copy?
What do you mean?
I have the Greek pulled up just in case you wanted it.
Oh no, I got it. But thank you.
Okay.
Because we're going to be looking at how they translate the Greek. So the first thing I want to look at is on their website, the Jehovah's Witness actually have the American Standard Version, right? It's one of their versions that they list. There's, I think, 7 of them. There's 7 or 8. And the American Standard is among them, right? So we're going to be looking at my favorite verse in the Greek, just because it's so simple yet profound and beautiful. And it's a lot of people's favorite verse in the Greek for good reason, because it's just perfect. So John 1:1, en archein hologos, kain hologos proston theon, kai theos in hologos, otherwise known as in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Right? That's how the American Standard Version translates it. Now you'll notice right over here, they have a recommended media. The Word was in the beginning with God and was a God. You might notice a pretty substantial difference there. Let's go to the New World Translation. Josh, go ahead and read John chapter 1, verse 1, please.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God.
Ah, interesting. So, see, they have enarche in hologos, kai in hologos proston theon, kai theos in hologos, right? Kai theos in hologos, as it would be literally word for word translated as a God was the Word. Now, their reasoning for this is that you'll notice kai theos in hologos, there is no definite article there. Whereas if we look at the previous fragment, kai logos pros ton theon, right? Ton theon. Ton is the definite article there. So we would literally translate that as, and the word was with the God. And then the next fragment does not have the God. It has, and God was the word. There's no definite article there. So they say where there's no definite article, you put the indefinite article, right? Because Greek has no indefinite article. The word a or an does not exist in Greek. They have nothing to denote that. So it's just generally implied whenever there's a noun without the definite article, you put the indefinite article there. However, there is another principle in Greek called the predicate nominative. And this is something that you do learn as a seminary student. Right? This is one of the very first things you learn about Greek, is that case endings are extremely important. The case endings determine what the word means. Right? So Frederick Fans is allegedly an eminent Bible scholar. This is something that an eminent Bible scholar knows. The case ending determines everything. Because the case ending in Greek, right, will tell you who is doing what. Right? So when you have kai hologos, right, and the word proston theon was with the God, it's telling you that the God is the object of the sentence, right? Ton theon. That omicron noon ending means that it is in the accusative, or it is the object of the sentence. Hologos, the omicron sigma ending, means that it is the nominative. It is the subject of the sentence. It is the thing doing the thing. Right? So when you look at the next fragment, then you have kai theos in hologos. You have two subjects. Right? Theos being God. That's what that word means. Theos means God in English. That's in the subject, or that's in the nominative, excuse me. It's the subject of the sentence. But you also have hologos, the word, also in the nominative, also the subject of the sentence. So why does John have two subjects? It's because he's making them equal. That's what the predicate nominative does. If you have two nouns, both in the subject, or excuse me, both in the nominative, both acting as the subject, they are equal. There's another passage, I forget where it is, but where it does this. And I think the JWs actually translate it correctly, which is kind of like, guys, come on now.
You what?
We do have a video on here going over the basics of biblical Greek and John 1. I would recommend you go check that out because I'm pretty sure I include it in that presentation. I should have brought it back up, but I didn't think of it.
I think I have your slides, so I can go check.
It's a long presentation, though, my dude.
I know, but I can at least like check and then like link the time, and then then maybe I can later link the time if it is in there.
Gotcha. Yes. Anyways, all that to say, if they're equating, then you do not need the definite article on both. You only need a definite article on one. Right? So John here is actually extremely precise and clever in his wording. Right? So in the beginning was the Word. He's appealing to Genesis. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the God. Right? So the God in that context is the Father. Right? You will see that in other places where the God is used, it's usually in reference to the Father, right? God the Father. But he doesn't say, and the God was the Word, because if he did that, then he would be committing Sabellianism, right? Which is an early Christian heresy. Well, it's not a Christian heresy. Well, it's a heresy of Christianity. You knew what I meant. It's an early heresy of Christianity, which states that the Father is the Son, and they switch between the two. That's actually more modalistic. Sabellianism states that the Father becomes the Son, who then becomes the Spirit, right? So you don't have modes they switch between. You have basically modes that they transition between. That's what Sabellianism teaches. Now, if John were to say the God was the Word after he just identified the God as the Father, he's then saying that the Father is the Word. And the Word, as we know later, if you keep reading in John 1, is Jesus Christ, the Son. Right? So now you have the Father is the Son. And John has just committed heresy. So he doesn't say the God, right? He doesn't say Kai, oh my goodness, Hotheos. Right? It'd be Kai Hotheos. That would be and the God. He just says Kai Theos in Hologos. Right? And God was the Word. Now, since he's kept that ending the same, that nominative ending the same, he is implying the definite article without it being there. And when I say that, I don't mean he's implying that this is the Father, but rather that this is God, that the Word is God. He's equating God with the Word. Not the God of the Father, but the essence, the substance of God with the Word, of that same God, right? Of the Father. The essence of the Father is that of the Son. Not that they are the same person, but that they are the same being. They are of the same essence. John 1:1 is explicitly Trinitarian. Right? And I've had, actually, on this channel, we had a debate where the guy's like, well, it doesn't mention the Trinity. It's like, well, hang on. It has the Trinitarian principle to it. Right? When I say it's explicitly Trinitarian, I mean it has the Trinitarian principle to it. It has the idea of multi-personhood shared in one essence. John is very precise about his wording. That is not a mistake by him. That is not an accident. He is choosing his words so carefully. And they translate like that. But let's go ahead and look at their interlinear. So they have enarche en hologos, kai en hologos proston theon, or excuse me, kai hologos in proston theon, kai theos in hologos. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was toward the God, which pros can be translated with, toward, from, whatever. Traditionally be translated as with. Honestly, toward is fine there because it still indicates distinction, which is John's point there. And curiously, they have, and God was the Word. They do not have the indefinite article there. This is the kingdom interlinear. This is the Jehovah's Witness interlinear. They recognize the predicate nominative. They recognize, oh crap, this doesn't say a God. You're having way too much fun with that.
Tell me it doesn't work though.
Did you find the slide or no?
Yeah, I didn't see it in here. When you get into the predicate nominative, you focus more on John 1. You don't really reference another passage. You reference some stuff in the Septuagint, but they wouldn't be working with the Septuagint.
What do you mean? Oh, like I didn't say that they translated correctly. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, because they don't work from the Septuagint.
Yeah. Curiously, the Kingdom Interlinear, I was trying to find it, doesn't actually have the Hebrew interlinear. It just has the Greek.
Now, maybe I missed something when I was looking through it, but when I was going through it, I didn't see you mention another passage around the predicate nominative. you use other passages to kind of help some other grammatical points, but
Yeah. All right. I must have left it off then mistakenly. But like John 1:1 is the go-to for the predicate nominative because it's so clear.
Yeah.
It's so clear what John is doing. Because he makes it so clear. He's like, guys, I really need you to get this. All right. Like, this is the thing. And that's why he begins his account with it. I have like, guys, I need this to be crystal clear before we get into the rest of the book. This is what we believe.
I just find it interesting that they translate it correctly in interlinear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the interlinear does not allow for, but the Greek does not actually allow for a god.
Like you would expect them to try to do something to mess with it, but
they do, right? They put God lowercase there.
That's true.
I don't know if do you need me to zoom in?
No, I can see that.
Okay. Yeah, they put God lowercase. That's how they differentiate it. Now, sticking here in John 1 for a second, we're going to pop back over to here. I find this interesting. All things came into existence through him, that being the word, right? Because here, we'll just read the whole thing here, 1 through 3. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. This is from the JW's New World Translation. And the Word was a God. This one was in the beginning with God. All things came into existence through him, and apart from him, not even one thing came into existence. What has come into existence? And we'll just finish, I guess, verse 4. By means of him was life, and the life was the light of men. Apart from him, not even one thing came into existence. Guys, that would include Jesus. I honestly expected a sound effect there. I'm so proud of you that I didn't get one.
I'm honestly trying to process how they would think about this theologically.
And like the interlinear is not any better for them.
Because if you could just go back for a second. Sorry. I know like your back's killing you, so I'll make it as brief as I can.
No, actually I'm comfortable right now. I found a decent spot for it, so I'm okay. I'll let you know if that changes.
I'll just use monarchical because it's just easier to explain that way. The monarchical Trinitarian can easily say that the Father creates through the Son, which is what verse 3 says. And it's what Colossians 1 says. Right. Yeah. So that was like, okay, cool, we're good. They would have to somehow explain how God, the Father, who is God, is creating through a separate being that is also a creature. Yeah. I don't know how to square that circle. And it seems extremely unnecessary. So I'm just kind of trying to rack my head like how they could do this, and they probably have something, but I'm just coming to this is just all unnecessary. Then that he just kind of wasted his time, or somehow he was too weak that he needed an extra power source. He made a power source, which is the sun, and he created through him or something like that.
Yeah. Well, so we're gonna kind of get to how they try to square the circle. Okay. But I wanted to point out that the way they translate this verse is accurate. Mm-hmm. Same capitalizing of the H. Because it says, and apart from him, not even one thing came into existence. Apart from who? The Word, right? The one that was in the beginning with God, who is the Word. So nothing came into existence apart from the Word. That has to include the Word, guys. Right? No thing. Right? And you say all things, panta, came into existence. Panta meaning all. Not all except for one. Not all with a caveat. Panta just means all. Yeah, Josh and I actually had a discussion on this Friday. Yeah. all things came into the existence through him. Right? And you may push back, well, Romans 3 says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Right. And then Paul goes on in the very next verse to say that it's Jesus Christ who saves us from that, implying that Jesus is the exception. There's no exception made here. It's just all things came into existence through him. And apart from him, not even one thing came into existence. Now, again, their interlinear agrees with that, right? Panta di autu egeneto kai choris autu egeneto ude ein. Right? So all things through him came to be, and apart from him came to be not but one thing. Right? So nothing came to be apart from him. Not but one thing, meaning there's not even one thing that came up to be apart from him. Meaning, he didn't come to be, guys. He is. That beautiful, beautiful quote. That they think there is a time when he is, was not. That's a beautiful quote. And your own interlinear agrees. Right? But if we pop back over to here, we get, oh dear, where is it? Was it you? No, it was you. B. Right, so you get B and you get A, these little footnotes. So I don't know why I went out of order. You get A and B. So in the beginning was the Word. They pick Colossians 1. This is a go-to passage for the JW. Because they will say that it calls Christ firstborn. Yeah. So they'll say he is the first, or excuse me, he is the image of the invisible God, which, pause, he's what now? Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. But he is the image of the invisible God, which only God could be, the firstborn of all creation. And that you go, see, prove it. Proven right there. And then it goes on, because by means of him all other things were created in the heavens and on the earth, the things visible and the things invisible. Remember that word. Other. So first, why does Colossians 1 call Jesus firstborn? Firstborn does not inherently mean created or like first created. We went through this recently. It's Psalm 89:27. I think it's the psalmist is described as firstborn, which obviously he's not. It says he is made firstborn. One cannot be made firstborn. Right. So like if we're talking about literal, right, you cannot suddenly become firstborn unless you're going to execute all of your siblings. But even then, you wouldn't be the firstborn. You would just be the oldest. The firstborn is the one who is, get this, born first. Yeah, I knew that was. I was waiting for it. I was going to let you have your moment of it. Wow. So when it's talking about firstborn, it's talking about most significant, right? Most important. Right? So when it says firstborn of all creation, it's talking about he's the most significant over creation. Right? And let's say, well, hang on, it doesn't say over. Context, guys. Context. Right? If he's the image of the invisible God, the most important of all creation, it's talking about him being, God. Right? That's kind of Hebrews 1. That's its whole point, is that he's God over creation. Talking about the same person, Jesus. But they're going to say, well, hang on, no, because you got to say, because by means of him, all other things were created, right? So he is a created thing, all other things. Like, yeah, sure, the New World Translation says that. Your interlinear doesn't. So, because in him was created all things in the heavens and upon the earth, things visible and the things invisible, whether thrones or lordships or governments or authorities, all things through him and into him has been created. Josh, what's missing from that verse?
Other.
Oh, strange. There's no other in the Greek. Almost like this isn't saying that Christ is a creation.
Correct!
More like it's talking about how he is created through. You're having so much fun. Created through. And in that sense, he is the firstborn of all creation, right? He is involved in the creative process. Ergo, he is the most important of creation because he is in the creative process. Not that he is created, but that he is what is created through, or I guess who is created through would be a better way to say that. This passage does not say what you want it to say, guys. Your interlinear disagrees with you. The translators of the New World Translation are inserting theology. Case in point. Let's go to the other one they cited, which is Proverbs 8. And this is the last thing I got for tonight because my spine is going to actively rupture.
Oh, now it's hurting?
I mean, it's been hurting, but it's like I haven't been in pain yet. And I think the meds are starting to wear off. So we have Proverbs chapter 8 here. And so I'm going to start us at verse 1 and then jump down to their reference, which is verse 22. Right? So verse 1 is not wisdom calling out, is not discernment raising its voice, right? So that's who's speaking here, right? It's wisdom speaking here throughout the chapter. Right? So then if we scroll down to here, it says, Jehovah produced me as the beginning of his way, the earliest of his achievements of long ago. From ancient times, I was installed from the start, from times earlier than the earth. When there were no deep waters, I was brought forth. When there were no springs overflowing with water. Before the mountains were set in place, before the hills, I was brought forth. When he had not yet made the earth and its fields, or the first clods of the earth's soil. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he marked out the horizon on the surface of the waters. When he established the clouds above, when he founded the fountains of the deep, When he set a decree for the sea, that its waters should not pass beyond his order, when he established the foundations of the earth. Then I was beside him as a master worker. I was the one he was especially fond of day by day. I rejoiced before him all the time. I rejoiced over his habitable earth. I was especially fond of the sons of men. And now, my sons, listen to me. Yes, happy are those who keep my ways. Listen to discipline and become wise and never neglect it. Happy is the man who listens to me by coming early to my doors day by day, by waiting next to my doorposts. For the one finding me will find life, and he receives approval from Jehovah. But the one who ignores me harms himself, and those who hate me love death. So what does all of that mean? Well, if that's wisdom speaking, and that's in reference to God creating everything, we're clearly talking about God's wisdom, right? Right. Are you guys going to suggest that God creates his own wisdom? If you do, I can hear the frogs outside your house. If you do, if you want to suggest that, then I would like to ask you, A, is God without wisdom? And B, if yes, which that's a wild statement, but yes, if no, then great, wisdom eternally exists. And this is not talking about creation of wisdom. Meaning that when you cite it in support of John 1 in your view, all you're stating is that this wisdom is eternally with God, and you're calling that the word, which I'm fine with. Yeah, great, let's do it. But if you're going to say, yes, God creates wisdom, wild take, that means God is without wisdom at some point. But then subsequent question, how does he have the wisdom to create wisdom? This is the problem with using passages like this and just kind of popcorning passages. You keep using that word, and I do not think it means what you think it means. Please, guys, recognize that your own stuff disagrees with you on your theology. Your own ideas disagree with you, or disagree with the text that you guys put forward, that you agree is correct.
And yet your leaders who put that together did not know anything about the languages.
Yes, Josh, thank you. Again, with the stealing. Yeah, I knew that coming because you looked slightly off to the right and reached for your mouse. So I knew there was a sound effect coming. And furthermore, I apologize to anybody who was wearing headphones for that. And we actually did lose a viewer right there. So my assumption is they just closed the tab in sheer panic at the sound.
You what?
Furthermore, even the people who are writing down the Bible that you were using to try and debunk these points did not know what they were talking about. They don't understand what they're writing. They're just trying to ham-fist their theology in, and they're doing a very poor job of it. The problem is you guys gained honest translators with your interlinear. They translated things that you don't like, but that are actually there in the text. Please, use your own resources. This is like the one time I'm going to advocate for a cult to use its own resources. Please do, because it is going to drag you guys kicking and screaming to the truth. What you have been taught is a lie. But there is truth out there. There is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to Jehovah but through him. Oh, also real quick, for the point regarding Jehovah being replaced throughout the Bible. Yeah, theos in hologos. Kai hologos in proston theon. You guys translate that as, and the word was with the God. You replace the name of Jehovah with God. That's your own stuff, dude. Don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. But yeah. That's what I got for tonight. Frogs and all.
Frogs and all.
And that thing is screaming out there.
Yeah, he is. Oh, well.
And if you want to hear us continue to scream, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post. Be sure to slap a like down on the live stream as it helps us out a ton, and let us know what you thought in the comments below. Did you learn anything new tonight? Did you find something that you think counteracts some of the points we made? We would love to have discussions with you. And the easiest way to do that is to join our Discord. We are getting to the point where we don't always respond to YouTube comments, but we are pretty active on our Discord. And if you ask a question, we'll probably answer it there more so than a YouTube comment section. But with all that said, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. God bless you, and Lord willing, we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah. Counseling session. Weighing every word like gold. From the manger to the throne. Same person, not a switch, not a mask, that's certain. One Lord, one face, one name. Son of God, Son of Man, unchanged. Perfect in divinity, say that. Perfect in humanity, play back. True God, true man, one Christ. Not a myth, not half, full life. Begotten 4 ages, blazing. Born in time from a virgin, amazing. Like us in all things, that's flesh. Sin apart though, clean breath. Same person they followed in Galilee. Same person who spoke in eternity. Not a blend, not a phase, not parts. One hypostasis, one heart. 2 natures, one Christ, one Lord. Unmixed, unchanged in the light of His glory. Yeah, undivided, unseparated. Hold tight. One person, one story. 2 natures, one Christ. Say it. God and man in a holy harmony. What He is, what He became, still the same through the ages of ages. Amen. They try to pull Him apart. We won't. Make Him only a prophet. He don't fit inside those boxes you draw. He's the word that fulfills every law. Not confused like colors that smear. Not split like friends disappear. Distinct what is His as a man, and what is His as I am. He got hungry, He slept, He wept. Yet the universe held as He stepped. He was nailed, He bled, He died. Yet the author of life still alive. So we speak what the elders confess. From the west and the east, one faith, one breath. Guard the mystery, keep that flame. Same Jesus, yesterday, today. 2 natures, one Christ, one Lord. Unmixed, unchanged in the light of His glory. Yeah, undivided, unseparated. Yeah, one person, one story. 2 natures, one Christ. Say King, God and man in a holy harmony. What He is, what He became, still the same. Oh yeah, through the ages of ages. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Not another savior on the shelf. He bridges God to us to Himself. If He ain't God, we're still in chains. If He ain't man, He can't feel our pain. So I rest in the creed they wrote. Every careful phrase, every note. Hold that line, don't twist, don't drift. In this one Lord, all things fit. 2 natures, one Christ, one Lord.